So let's start off by talking about what you think is crucial to being a strategic leader, and what part of that 4 areas is the easiest for you, and maybe what's been the toughest for you. You want to kick us off, Kate?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, I do think the difference between just a regular leader and a strategic leader is the ability to look out a little bit farther and to create a roadmap for where your company is going. And that also, I think, tends to be my biggest challenge, is that it's really hard when you're doing the day-to-day activities of the business to take the time to set aside and either brainstorm or get your team together and think about, okay, why do we come to work every day? Where are we headed? What are some things we want to make sure we accomplish in the next coming months or in the next coming year? So, or even further out. So that tends to be a challenge for us. I know we just finished an internal strategic planning session that we did, and the one thing that came up was more strategic planning, which is ironic because you're like, well, that's why we're here, but they want to do it more often. And that's a good thing too, because we want to come up with new ideas. And ironically enough, but I think it speaks of the environment that we're in right now. The other thing that came up in our planning is bonding. And that is that they wanted to bond internally with each other more. And I think there's kind of that comfort level there of wanting to know each other better and have that positive, a better team, and having that positive sense when they come to work. So that would be the most challenging area, I think, is just stopping and thinking about all of that. You know, and then I don't know what's easiest. I'm kind of torn between that. I think it's all difficult in sort of balancing all those aspects. So.
I think it's easy to get a group together. At least it's easy for us to get a group together to talk about strategy and to dream and put down ideas and brainstorm kind of the future. What isn't so easy is to hone in on the real things that are going to make a difference, and discipline, and the discipline it takes to create execution out of that strategy.
Kind of stick with the plan.
Right. So we might throw a dozen things at the wall, but you can't do a dozen, and we don't have the resource to do a dozen things. And I have the same problem you have, Kate, is finding the time to really plan. So as I introduce myself, I have several hats I wear, and so there are a lot of other hats I wear, and we have internal committees that we're all involved in, so we got a lot of things to do, and it takes till 7 or 8 o'clock some nights to get out of the office to go have a life, you know. You got to do that too, so you got to balance your resources. So although 12 go to the wall, and it's fun to do that in a planning session in a retreat type atmosphere, really you can only 2 or 3 can only stick, and then it's the discipline to pick the 2 or 3 that really are the most meaningful based on really all of these criteria, Margaret.
It's going to remind me of what Michael Gerber says in his book, where he says that most people work in the business as opposed to on the business. Right. And the biggest obstacle to success is failure to implement. I mean, we're the same way.
Right.
We limit the number of initiatives that we're willing to take on at any given time. Execution is always going to be the issue. We assign it to someone, we follow up on it, we do all the things that you should do, and even at that, sometimes we don't get the results that we desire out of it. I think another key, or one of the struggles that we had, at least had, and continue to have, with any organization is communication. Early on, we survey our clients, we survey our team members, everyone trying to obtain information that will help us run our organization better. And early on, we identified that communication was not as pervasive as our team members would have liked. We do a pretty good job of communicating with our clients, but inside, you know, once you establish the vision, your goals, your plan of execution, you need to communicate that to all your team members, let them take ownership, empower them to take on that strategy. We do a better job of that now, but as accountants, our natural inclination is not to communicate or have an open type system.
Ron,
You
what
know,
do you?
well, for me, it's about the vision. It's all about the picture that you paint. And early on in my career, I thought, this was probably real easy. You list everything and you give them that. But it's not that. It's really about painting a picture. And it's about so that they can actually buy into what your vision is. I think it's more difficult to paint the picture. I was challenged one time by one of our employees, and I thought, well, I've just given this beautiful, mission, vision, values to everybody. He said, that's not the picture, though. Tell me what you want out of that, and it sort of changed my view of that. And life comes at you fast. I think there was an old commercial that said, we get more information today than we've ever received, and it comes at you fast, and you can only control the controllables. So early in my career, particularly in banking, you made a plan, you stuck to it, it didn't matter what happened. You can't do that anymore. And I remember the boss saying, that's not in the plan. Well, hey, by the way, things have changed. So, listening to all of the audiences you deal with, whether it's employees, your target market, and then being able to really succinctly tell what that picture is.